When we turned the corner and came face to face with 8 Super Hornets all lined up, I genuinely thought I had died and gone to heaven. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Inspiring Peyton. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Peyton Burnett, and I have a physical disability called arthrogryposis that prevents me from using my arms and legs properly. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here, and I hope this video brings you another little slice of joy. Today we're continuing my personal favorite series, Inspiring Peyton. Just to recap, Inspiring Peyton exists as a tremendous thank you to the women in the airshow industry who have impacted my life in some pretty meaningful ways over the last several years, sometimes without even realizing it. Each episode highlights someone who has had a direct impact on me, and today's person is one I've been especially excited to share. This episode is about someone who, to be quite honest with you, inspired me through some of my scariest times, and is one of the biggest reasons that I'm still involved with the airshow industry. Without further ado, Lieutenant Commander Amanda Stalin Lee is a United States Navy fighter pilot who flew the FA-18 Super Hornet with the United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels. For the 2023 show season, Lieutenant Commander Lee flew the number 3, or left wing position, making history as the first woman to fly as a jet demonstration pilot with the Blue Angels in the team's then 77-year history. In 2024, Lieutenant Commander Lee flew the number 4, or slot position, and served as the team's airborne safety observer during demonstrations and practices. Lieutenant Commander Lee didn't start out wanting to be a pilot. In fact, she originally began her naval career as an aviation electronics technician on the FA-18 following her enlistment in 2007. She was selected to commission as a pilot through the Seaman to Admiral commissioning program in 2009 and attended the Naval Science Institute for officer training. Over the next few years, she also earned her Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry from Old Dominion University. In August of 2013, Lieutenant Commander Lee earned her commission and officially began her pilot training at NAS Pensacola in Pensacola, Florida. Following about 2.5 years of pilot training across multiple aircraft, she was designated as a naval aviator. Lieutenant Commander Lee went on to Super Hornet training with VFA 106, the Gladiators, and then transferred to VFA 81, the Sunliners. She completed 2 combat deployments aboard the Truman before becoming an instructor pilot, once again returning to VFA 106. It was during this time that Lieutenant Commander Lee was selected as a Rhino demo team pilot and was introduced to the airshow world. Back in 2023, which was Lieutenant Commander Lee's first year on the team, I created digital paintings of the jets for all 7 Blue Angel pilots. It was the first time that they were scheduled to be in Oregon in 8 years, and I wanted to do something to thank them for everything that they do for people. I had no idea that this project was going to unfold the way that it did, and the team actually ended up inviting me to Portland International Airport so that I could personally deliver the paintings to the pilots. I got to go onto the National Guard base with 2 of my best friends, and it was honestly surreal. When we turned the corner and came face to face with 8 Super Hornets all lined up, I genuinely thought I had died and gone to heaven. That day honestly changed my life, and to an extent, everything that I'm doing right now, even by making this video, was a direct result of my time with the Blue Angels in Portland. Not only was it my first time getting to see them do a demonstration in person and getting to meet the incredible people on the team, but I got to interact with the woman who has inspired me through some of the darkest times of my life. Even now, just under 3 years later, I look back on that day and can't help but wonder how things would have played out if we didn't have that experience. In very early 2024, I moved into my first house and lived completely alone for the first time. That doesn't seem like a huge deal for most, but when you're physically disabled and can't even get off your couch by yourself, it's a lot to deal with emotionally. There are 2 people in the airshow industry who are really the ones that got me through that first couple of months, and Lieutenant Commander Lee is one of them. A month after the big move, my good friend Nikayla and I flew down to Travis Air Force Base for a show, and I was genuinely shocked that Lieutenant Commander Lee recognized us from that one fateful day in Portland. To know that I made somewhat of an impact on somebody who has ultimately changed my life was such a foreign thought in my brain, and sometimes I honestly still can't wrap my head around that. That was the same show that this picture was taken, which is the first and only time that yours truly has ended up on DVids. This same picture was featured in a video done by Blue Angels Phantoms, who was also kind enough to provide many of the clips in this video. Everything comes full circle in this industry, and I don't even have the words to describe how thankful I am. It wasn't very long after moving into my own house that I went through some pretty life-altering things. Everything that happened in a very short amount of time prevented me from doing shows for about half the year, and during some of the hardest days, thinking about Lieutenant Commander Lee's journey and everything that she represents helped me to find the strength to get through it. It was during this time that I also met Heather, who over the last 2 years has become my right-hand woman and will soon be moving all the way to Oregon from Mississippi. All of this has unfolded because Heather made a comment on Facebook about how awesome it was to meet Lieutenant Commander Lee for her birthday. Although how all that happened is a story for a different day. It was also during the 2024 season that I met several dear friends that I actually still do shows with, and I began tracking beach buzzes with Blue Angels practice info for the Pensacola community. It just goes to show that Lieutenant Commander Lee's impact on my life is still very strong, even though she hasn't been with the Blue Angels for over a year now. I would be leaving out a major part of the story if I didn't share with you my biggest airshow regret, and one of my biggest regrets in general, actually. I never told Lieutenant Commander Lee thank you for the impact that she's had on my life, and that sits with me even a year and a half after her last show. Her advice from an interview for the Navy's 248th birthday really hits home. The sentence, "do things that make you nervous," has stuck with me, and I've tried to live by that at shows and throughout my life, although it's not always easy, and like anyone, sometimes I fall short. Amanda, if for some reason you're seeing this, I hope you know how much of an impact you've made in so many people's lives, certainly including mine. I am so grateful for the inspiration and strength that you have given me through some of the darkest periods of my life, and I'm sorry that I didn't tell you that in person. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Inspiring Peyton. I hope that Lieutenant Commander Lee's story serves as a reminder that you're not always born knowing which path you want to take. Things that seem like they aren't going according to plan isn't always a bad thing, because there's something greater waiting for you on the other side. Stories like Amanda Lee's are exactly why this series was born, to celebrate the people who quietly change lives simply by doing what they love.